What does it take to build a full-time living as a YouTube content creator? I want to welcome you to this special bonus session of our conference, Grow with Video Live. My name is Sean Cannell, and I'm super fired up because if you haven't heard about the new study that was done of 1,400 part-time and full-time content creators, there's a lot of disruptive data that you need to know. It's really revealing that how to make a career, what is the lifestyle, what are the attributes, what are the really habits and the traits of those that are making a living as a YouTuber, as a content creator. And let me know in the comments if that is one of your ambitions. You know, our mission here at Think Media is to help 10,000 purpose-driven people create a full-time living on YouTube. And so I'm so fired up for this very session. So smash the like button. We're actually sharing this on Think Media, and we're also streaming it inside of our conference. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that as well. But let's just get straight into this. And really, the title of this session is The Rise of the YouTube Entrepreneur. 5 qualities of highly successful content creators. And in this training, we're going to be discovering the biggest opportunities in the creator economy right now. The difference between a content creator and a content entrepreneur, and 5 unmistakable qualities of people that build full-time lifestyle businesses on YouTube. But let me ask you this question. Have you ever had, somebody say, hey, what exactly is it that you do? I'm sure you have, right? I think about you go to a party. Sometimes it's a hard question to ask. You're even hanging out with family. Someone comes up to you, like, what is it you do? And maybe you kind of read the person a little bit. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, well, based on the room I'm in, I might answer the question differently. You might say I'm a student, but if you're in, another room, you might say the job where you work. Now, let me know if you've already been a content creator for a while, if you've already been creating content, maybe you're a part-time YouTuber, maybe you're already doing it full-time. The question is really awkward to answer. I mean, I'll be driving in an Uber, and sometimes, people will say, what is it you do? And I have a second to be like, I'm a YouTuber? I mean, and now, does that make sense? Is that a known term? You know what I mean? When I was traveling between the United States and Canada, I had to fill out a little customs card, right? And I was filling out the card, and I was thinking about, what do I say here? Do I write YouTuber in profession? I think I just wrote photographer to try to, not create any, drama or awkwardness. I saw this meme, actually. It's pretty funny. What my friends think I do, they think I sleep all day. What my mom thinks I do, she thinks I just watch Netflix and eat snacks. My neighbors think I'm the unemployed man. I'm just wandering around the neighborhood, just going to walk in the middle of the day. Why does he never leave the house, right? My boss, I guess I am the boss, but my boss thinks, I'm just in my boxers on the couch. What I actually think I do is get a lot of stuff done. And then what I'm actually doing every day is I'm shirtlessly, just sitting with a headset at my battle streaming system live streaming. I probably shouldn't live stream shirtless. That's probably, maybe actually that would increase the viewership. I'm not sure. But it kind of gives us this whole vibe of man, what is a YouTuber? I mean, you have these questions what is a full-time YouTuber? What's a YouTuber make? What does YouTuber even mean? These are Google questions. What do you need to become a YouTuber? Who was the first YouTuber? And in this very session, it's interesting because we're going to be going into data where they were now this very real career. They've been revealing some of the attributes of really what a YouTuber is, or kind of more importantly, what a YouTube entrepreneur is. Because I think what happens is that when it comes to YouTubers, there's a big difference between a YouTube entrepreneur and a YouTuber. Have you ever looked up who are the most famous and richest YouTubers? A lot of people want to know this. There was actually a Forbes article, and here's some of the big ones I noticed. David Dobrik, he made $15.5 million in 2020. Could you live on that? Would you be able to? Is that? Here's this guy. His name's Blippi. He does kids content. He had a $17 million year. Not too bad. If you've heard of Nastia, she's a 8-year-old Russian YouTuber. And she had an $18.5 million year. That's pretty good, creating content. I think she has multiple channels. And then at the top of the list of the highest paid YouTubers was Ryan's Toy Review, right? $29.5 million in a year. Can somebody say, well, that would be pretty nice? That, you know what I'm saying? And maybe this is what people think, right? Maybe people think, when you think about what is a full-time YouTuber, you think about, Nerdy Nummies or Lily Singh or PewDiePie or Mr. Beast. In fact, tell me, who is your favorite YouTuber, right? You think about, oh man, it's only about these celebrities now, these famous YouTubers. But the question we're asking today is it possible for everyday people, not superstars, right? For everyday people to make a full-time living and build a real legitimate business on YouTube without a huge following or superstar status? That's the question. And so we enter what's called now the creator economy. Now, another term for this has been called the passion economy. And this is actually putting some language. For me, I got started creating YouTube videos in 2010, actually originally for my church in 2007, 2 years after YouTube started. And so there was no creator economy or passion economy at the time. But these are some language that's coming around this. And Signal Fire actually did a report that revealed there are now 50 million content creators a part of the creator economy. Only about 12, or rather 13 million of those are YouTubers. And they revealed that 1 million of those are professional creators. That means they're earning over 6 figures a year. And then on YouTube, and the other 12 million on YouTube are amateur creators. So they're on the journey of maybe they haven't earned any money yet, or they're beginning to earn, $100 a month or $10,000 a month or whatever it is. And of course, there's other platforms you could be building your influence on. But what's crazy about the creator economy is Signal Fire revealed that this is actually, and I quote, the fastest growing small business type right now. Wow. Like opening up a Subway franchise, right? Like starting some kind of other small business endeavor. The fastest growing small business type is actually being a content creator. But we have to ask the question, is the goal to be a content creator? Like, is the goal to actually be a full-time content creator? And even more, what's the difference between a content creator and a content entrepreneur? And a recent deep dive study came out from thetilt.com, and we'll share the link to that in the notes and description or comments. And it was I highly recommend reading it. It's called The Unconventionals, and it was a study of 1,400 part-time, full-time, aspiring content creators that are really being called content entrepreneurs. And what's interesting is the details about it's not the stereotype. The media, and I'm reading the article now, or rather the study, the media invariably focuses on young influencers with viral hits on TikTok and YouTube. That's what we think about when we think about a YouTuber. But it's high time to debunk that stereotype. Content entrepreneurs span all age groups, industries, channels, and for the most part, their success is not based on a viral hit or a massive audience. This is the rising trend that we're seeing of the real ones that are creating a full-time income on YouTube. This is what we're seeing of those that are really building a real business around their YouTube channel. It's not celebrity status. There may never be a viral hit. They may not be known. In fact, they're not known by you. They're not being written up in articles necessarily by Forbes, but yet they're building full-time incomes. In fact, content entrepreneurs are not who you think. Banish the image of under 30 viral YouTube and TikTok stars. The largest and most financially successful cohort in the study was Gen X, 40%, that were now in their 40s and their 50s. Wow. Here's the top 10 industries that this study revealed of those that were succeeding as content entrepreneurs. Business was 19%. These are the niches, right? People in the marketing niche, the education niche, health and fitness. Lifestyle was only 7%. You have arts, crafts, and DIY. Entertainment, science and technology, travel and events, and cooking and food, as far as content entrepreneurs go. So let's think about it. Like, again, you can choose your own path. YouTube really is your tube. You can choose your own adventure, right? And so my question to you is, what category do you fall in? What is your niche? What is your category? What is your topic? And do you personally relate more with the term YouTuber Or do you more closely relate with maybe new language, which we're calling YouTube entrepreneurs, or YouTubepreneurs for short? To be clear, this study is talking about content entrepreneurs, which might be across platforms. They're doing it in blogs or TikTok or Instagram. But it's our belief here at Think Media that YouTube is the absolute best place to plant your flag. And here's what one person explained. It said, please don't consider it, people don't consider it a real business because they think about Instagram influencers or YouTubers doing silly stuff. Content creation covers a lot more than what most people think, including business blogging and education. So I'm excited to dive into this. We're going to be talking about the 5 qualities of highly successful YouTube entrepreneurs. And we're going to be going through, the cool thing about this is not based just on my story. Because it's one thing for one person to do it one way and it's not repeatable. The exciting thing is this is data across people of all ages, ethnicities, backgrounds, and niches, so that you can actually say, okay, what's my path if it's your ambition to be a YouTube entrepreneur, a full-time content creator building a real business? You can follow the pathway that others have blazed in the woods to get to the destination that maybe you want to get to. And this session right here, we're streaming this on Think Media, so shout out to Think Media. If you're watching in our Grow With Video app, shout out, so grateful you're a part of this conference. This session is actually just kind of an opening night bonus session of our conference, Grow With Video Live. If you haven't registered for Grow With Video Live, you can check out the link in the description or just go to growwithvideolive.com. It's a 2-day conference where we're going to be going deep into the fundamentals, the tactics, the data, over a year's worth of case studies that we've been looking at across our channels, people in our community's channels, and really just unpacking the need-to-know gritty details of how do you become a full-time YouTube entrepreneur. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, but let's get into attribute number 1. Attribute number 1 is focus and discipline. How are people making a full-time living? Doing what they love, working from home as a YouTube entrepreneur. Number 1, focus and discipline. And I quote from the study, those that are succeeding, they work on their content business full-time. The research shows that those who are invested full-time are more likely to be financially independent than those that treat it as a gig. And this makes sense. Growing a successful venture takes focus and discipline. Now here's what you might be thinking. You're like, okay, Sean, well, what good is that? I want to do it full-time, but I have a job. You know, I would love to do it full-time, so I don't get it. Those that are the most successful are doing it full-time. That's my dream, but I got a job, I got school, I got stuff to do. But hear me. The attribute discovered is that those who really make it in this industry, they're not dabbling, they're dominating. And I want to encourage you that full-time at least starts with the mindset. You got to know there's a big difference between the person that's like, it's just kind of a hobby, like I'm just kind of going to hope this works out. A big difference between that person and the person who approaches it as like, no, this is a business. This is I'm getting focused right now. I'm going to calendar block my schedule. I may have the school and the job and the kids and the different stuff happening in my life, but it's time for me to get serious, to get focused, and to get disciplined. Those who succeed, that was a common trait. Because even those who maybe finances was not the challenge, but just kind of treated it as like, it's just kind of a side thing, clearly didn't have anywhere near the results. And maybe, let me know if you can relate to this image, right? Like maybe you feel like this right now and you're like, Sean, how do I do that? Like, I've got kids, Literally, this is your situation. You have a crying baby. I feel you. I'm a new dad on a way to have an 11-month-old in just a few days. And young Sean Bradley, like it's a whole nother dimension. I'm trying to figure out life, kids, sleep schedules, poop, diapers. I'm into the whole thing, man. It's a whole nother dimension. Plus, life and responsibilities. I mean, over the years, I've waited tables. Over the years, I've worked at a church full-time, 40, 45, 50, 55 hours a week with the salary, and then trying to figure out how to do YouTube on the side. But I will tell you this, I was focused and I was disciplined to work on my side hustle because I really believe that if I was focused on my day job and doing that well, but then devoting time and calendar blocking so I could work on my dream job, that one day my dream job would become my day job. And that day has been today here at Think Media. focus, and discipline. And you might be able to relate to having so many different things on your to-do list. We're actually going to be talking at Grow with Video Live about productivity strategies. And I'm not the king of this. Heather Torres from the Think Media team is the queen of this. And with 3 kids and with doing her job at Think Media and being a content creator and hosting our podcast and having responsibilities at volunteering at church and having all this different stuff in her life. Here's the key: focus and discipline. You want this to be full-time, it's time to get focused. It's time to get focused. It's time to get disciplined. Number 2, these are attributes from this. Lean in for this because this gets really interesting. Positioning. They choose a proven and a profitable niche. Positioning. Now notice this and lean in. This right here says, out of all the different tactics that these YouTube entrepreneurs were doing in terms of how they grew their audience. We might want to plug this laptop in. It's about to die too, if we could do that. We literally have seconds. And these are some different tactics. SEO was the top tactic for content entrepreneurs. SEO was the top tactic. I got my power supply over there as well in that bag. SEO is the top tactic. So what does that mean though? So what this tells me is that content entrepreneurs primarily create search-based content, right? And therefore, they're proving they're in a niche where there is a problem that people are online trying to solve. This doesn't mean that you can't make it, of course, as an entertainer or as a singer or as, somebody else, but ultimately that you are able to, and the second most strategy was hashtags. Hashtags. And so 48% of those building their audience use hashtags, 56% use search engine optimization. Now I get it. You might be saying, okay, YouTube's not about keywords anymore. It's not about search anymore. First of all, that's a fallacy. But I totally understand that, click-through rate, we're going to be talking about that, suggested videos, that's where traffic on YouTube comes from. But the key is that these business owners, these YouTube entrepreneurs, they're choosing a niche, they're choosing to build their channel around something that actually is honestly more monetizable and is search-based in terms of their positioning, So here's the question that a YouTube entrepreneur answers, is they answer what problem they know they solve a problem. My question for you is, what problem does your content solve? See, entrepreneurs solve problems for a profit, okay? And therefore, if you go, well, I don't know, it's like I kind of just vlog my life. That's cool. And you're going to get value, of course, subscribing and being connected to us and being a growth video. But to really have the shortest and most proven and practical path to being a YouTube entrepreneur, you think about what problem do you solve. It makes me think of Ben. So Ben Azadi has a YouTube channel called Keto Camp. He's got 129,000 subscribers. He's got that silver play button. And I would consider Ben a YouTube entrepreneur. He's crushing it as a YouTuber. Think about it. Your aspiration is to get that silver play button, right? And maybe let me know, do you want to hit 100,000 subscribers? If he's driving in an Uber, and that Uber driver's like, what do? He could be like, I'm a YouTuber. I got the play button. But that's not what Ben would position himself as. No, he's more of an entrepreneur, but even more than that, he's a health teacher. He's a teacher. And so he's wrote a book called Keto Flex. So he's an author. And so these are also different ways he's monetizing. He's packaged his knowledge into a book. He's packaged his knowledge into online courses. He's got Keto Camp Academy. He's got Keto Camp membership site. He's got 60 minutes consulting that you can do with him. And so the key here, right, and this was what this study found, was that content entrepreneurs were building real businesses. They were actually looking at YouTube or whatever channel as more of a vehicle and not really as the main thing. Again, more power to the Mr. Beast model. And there's a lot of opportunity there. But this content entrepreneur pathway is the most practical pathway, which brings us to tip number 3. And attribute number 3 is that they have a business mindset. They have a business mindset. It says this: they are focused on financials and structure of the content business, how to monetize, how to diversify, how to build an asset rather than a cult of personality. We should read that again. They're actually thinking, man, how do I build an asset rather than a cult of personality? We should talk about this. You know, when it comes to this whole culture that we're in right now, listen, I want you to be an influencer. Like, I want you to be famous. But I actually think that pursuit has some dangers with it. And by the way, it's impractical for most people. Like, everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be an influencer. But what if you didn't build a cult of personality, but you built a real business? What if you built a micro community where you're the leader, you're an authority of that community, you are in a way micro famous, but what if fame wasn't the point? One of the biggest pitfalls I see a lot of people in our community fall into is they kind of fall into the trap of just, I want all the subscribers in the world, I want to grow my audience as big as, I want all the views, and all they want is vanity metrics. Fame is cool, but fame is a vanity pursuit. What if we thought about impact? What if we thought about service? What if we thought about solving a problem, not building a cult of personality? It goes on to say, and content creation, this is huge, is not how they spend the majority of their time. So they're really, it's like, you know, the Uber driver's like, so what do you do? Are you a content creator? You're like, well, I'm not really I create content, but I'm actually a business owner. Like, I'm actually a teacher, I'm an educator, I'm an author, I'm a speaker. These are some of the pathways that people are doing things. I'm a leader, these are the different things. Now listen to this. Diversified revenue streams. Tip number 3, attribute number 3 is they have a business mindset. The research shows, however, that successful content entrepreneurs are more likely to invest in multiple channels and diversify their revenue streams. Much like a traditional entrepreneur diversifies their business, more resilient content entrepreneurs should consider how they generate revenues from more than one channel or tactic. And here are the channels. These are the most profitable monetization channels of YouTube entrepreneurs. The top one is they make an online course, workshop on their own platform. Look at me. This is a attribute when you think about the majority of those that are content entrepreneurs are building out an online course. The majority of those are building out a workshop. They're building out something related to education. I think that's fascinating. Again, it goes back to search-based content. You know, I was going through, we have an app for our conference, Grow with Video Live, and I'm so pumped to connect with, I've already been connected with people. We're finding out people's niches, we're finding out what people are doing, and we're going through and I'm seeing there's all kinds of different niches in there. And again, we're living in the passion economy, but this report revealed that that's actually not even the best language, because yes, your passion matters, but content entrepreneurs is not just about passion, it's also about business. But we're seeing people passionate about comedy, and we saw people passionate about, travel, which is actually very practical when it comes to business. We saw people passionate, but I saw a yoga teacher in there that's going to be teaching beginner yoga. That's a search-based problem, and it lends itself to workshops, online courses. Of course, maybe people that want to learn how to be nomadic and travel in an RV. I saw someone in our community, doing that. People that are teaching business, that are teaching marketing. I saw someone that does Bruce Springsteen guitar covers, which is like the channel is all Bruce Springsteen tutorials. But here's the thing. It lends itself to making an online course about how to play guitar, beginner guitar, maybe a premium set of printable Bruce Springsteen downloads, something that can be sold, hence some type of a way to build your own business, build your own products. The number one way YouTube entrepreneurs are earning money, and their most profitable monetization channels, the top one's online courses. So you might say, Sean, well, but I don't want to make an online course. Well, you don't have to do anything you don't like. Well, Sean, but I don't know if I want to do that. I'm not saying you should do that or you have to do that. But I am saying success leaves clues. I am suggesting that when you study now a no longer beginning industry. This is no longer an emerging industry, and it's no longer undefined. In 2021, going into 2022, this is now an industry that is evolving at a rapid pace, right? And success leaves clues. It makes me think, okay, what niche should I be in based on my passion, skill set, proficiency, things I'm good at? Of course, that if an online course was maybe the end goal, I might not even build it for 1, 2, or 3 years. That's fine. But would this even be productizable? That's worth writing down. Would my niche, does it lend itself to being able to create products? Here's the second one: advertising and sponsored content. So that's going to include your YouTube ads as a YouTube entrepreneur. It's going to include brand deals, right? Working with brands specifically. Next, affiliate marketing. Next, speaking fees. Next one is membership fees. Then we have books. We have online courses, workshops, and having like a third-party site. And then we've got on a third-party site, so that's different than the top one. Actually, so you could put that all together and say online courses is 20%. Then you have job boards and listings, and then donations finally. Now hear me. Donations, right? It's a great one. That's like Patreon. Like, I just want people to support content creation for me. Cool. But that's not the biggest for content entrepreneurs. See, those that are building a real business are not thinking about, hey, just donate to the channel, which these are all monetization strategies we talk about and we love. This very session is called The Rise of the YouTube Entrepreneur. So this is data that we did not come up with, right? That's revealing how people are doing this. They're able to quit the job they hate. They're able to get out of the situation they don't want to be in any longer. They're able to stay at home with their kids, make their own hours, but you got to put in the work. And we're giving some really powerful data that can help us get to that destination. So meet Chris. So Chris is from Flyride, and he does custom LED or headlights for custom automotive lighting. Do you want that car? We're giving that car away. I'm just kidding. That'd be pretty sick though, wouldn't it? And so, I mean, that headlight just looks unbelievable. So Chris is an expert at this. He's done this. He has his own shop, right? He has his own workshop. He's sold the lights. He's worked with other people. He's employed other people. But he started a YouTube channel, Flyride. So he starts earning money in a lot of different ways. And he goes at it, though, not with, I want to become Mr. Beast. He goes at it with, man, I'm going to build a business around this. So he's been a part of our signature course called Video Ranking Academy for a couple years now. And so we've stayed in contact, and we talk on Instagram. So I actually asked him, I said, hey, Chris, like, how is it you're making money now? Like, again, business mindset. What are the ways you earn money? Check this out. So he shoots me a DM. He's like, well, AdSense on YouTube and or my website. So he's earning money from Google AdSense ads on his website and on his YouTube channel. From the Creator Fund, from brand deals, next, from POD merch, from physical goods, which are easy to fulfill, from digital affiliate products, from physical affiliate sales on Amazon, from Patreon and YouTube memberships, from digital courses, from private group memberships, from one-on-one coaching, and from professional service. So take a deep breath and hear me. Chris did not start all of those monetization streams at once, but he's going at it a different way than most approach going full-time on YouTube. If you want to be a full-time YouTuber, one of the things that this study found was that those that are succeeding do have multiple income streams. So the question for you, what are the best income streams for your niche, your channel, your style of channel? Again, if you are more in entertainment, that's going to have to probably be brand deals and ads, and you need lots of views. But as soon as you move over into education, search-based content, now all of a sudden there's a whole platter, there's a whole buffet of opportunity in terms of ways you can earn money. And what's fascinating was this study revealed that 30% of these content entrepreneurs, the CEs, they only spend 30% of their time on content creation each week. Not 30%. All of them only spend about 30% of their time on content creation each week. So what else are they doing? Well, they may be known as content creators, CEs spend just 30% to 40% of their time creating content. The majority of their time is spent running the business, be it responding to social media comments, providing customer service, managing people, or most importantly, overseeing monetization efforts. As one survey taker explained, content creation is only half of the job. If you intend to create income, at least half of your time, if not more, must be spent on figuring out how to monetize your content. It's the most difficult part of the job. And this is the point of Grow with Video Live. So if you made the smart move and got a ticket, you're in the right place, because we're going to be focusing on not just how to hack and get views and all of that, but man, how do you build a business, the most difficult part of the job, around your YouTube channel? What are the long-term ambitions of the business? What are your long-term ambitions? What are the long-term ambitions of the business? This right here says, if you notice, here's the different generations. So we're looking at Gen Z, Millennials, Gen X, and Boomers. And we're noticing that there's the different age groups, and that in the red, you can see that the smallest percentage are like, this is just a hobby. Now that's cool. Let me know, is this just kind of a hobby for you? That's a great ambition. Now, the next group, the orange group, plan on being a solopreneur and possibly to support one person. Maybe you haven't thought about needing to hire somebody or hiring a video editor or something like that. But that next group is going into it thinking, I'm going to be a solopreneur. Maybe I get a virtual assistant. Maybe I get... Now hear me, this is so important too, because if you, like, the way you start something influences where you end up. Right? Like, we call it reverse engineering. Start with the end in mind. So a lot of times we go into this and we're like, I mean, I don't know, Sean. I don't know how to answer these questions. I never really thought about, wait, am I going to build a team? Am I going to need help? Man, you're making me think about the business way bigger. I wasn't even thinking like a business owner. I wouldn't consider myself an entrepreneur. But when we look at the successful content entrepreneurs, YouTube entrepreneurs, they're going into it being like, okay, I'm going to do this full time. Number one, focused and disciplined, right? I'm focused and disciplined. Eventually, I'm going to hire somebody. In a second, we're going to see how long this takes and how long it took to earn the money and how much money they earn. But the next group, they plan to support a few people. They actually kind of want to build a little, kind of movement thing. They want to build maybe a couple people that their content creation will actually be able to support others. What a beautiful thing. Employ others, employ other contractors, and some, on the other end of the spectrum in the gray, they plan to support many people. And you can see, broken down among the generations, that this is how these YouTube entrepreneurs are thinking. Now this reminds me of Denise. Now Denise Jordan, again, one of our Video Ranking Academy students, 43,000 subscribers in a really cool season of life. She's retired and actually in a situation where she doesn't need money right now. She's all about impact and service. Now, of course, she's also about building her business, so she wants to earn money, but she's in that retired season, and she's doing this and that with Denise Jordan, which is this powerful homemaking kind of gardening. We had her on what's called the VRA show, and she was talking about, I want to help the next generation who's actually kind of lacking some of these homemaking skills. You know what I mean? Like lacking just how do you do stuff around the house? How do you solve problems around the house? And here's a screenshot of her Amazon affiliate page. And so you could see she's got canning supplies and preps for your prepper pantry. She's got must-have kitchen essentials. And the key here is it's not about just picking out some products and putting them on an Amazon influencer page. The key is aligning everything. Like, how do I not only position my YouTube channel, but think about my bigger business and also think about how I'm going to monetize and think about the best income streams to earn money in my niche, but think about all of these different details. That's what Denise is doing. But even more than that, check this out. She started aprondiva.com. So she's making custom aprons, right? Super cool. I mean, the site's dope. She's got the banner on there. Like, she's hustling, building, hear me, her business. Remember, content entrepreneurs, are spending 30% of their time making content, but they're building out websites like aprondiva.com. And again, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do any necessarily one of these ingredients. But our goal over the next 2 days is to help you figure out your perfect cocktail of ingredients to reach your financial goals, reach your schedule goals. How much time do you want to work each week? What is exactly you want to build? So check this out. So how much, though, does the business bring in? For many content entrepreneurs, being an entrepreneur affords them a modestly comfortable living for doing something they find satisfying. So full-time content entrepreneurs, all of them were earning $50,000 a year as gross revenues, and this was the median. Now, if they'd been doing this for 4 or more years, $100,000, and full-time content entrepreneurs with 7 or more years of experience, $125,000. Now, how powerful is that to not only think about, okay, it's also important to maybe think about what's the practical side of this. There's people who make a lot more than that. There's those who make less. It's the median income now of a very verified and more studied industry, but also you could see a trajectory towards the future. You could see, okay, as I commit to this, more experience, 7 years of experience, they get better, their income's going up. They start to build, more influence over time. They start getting just smarter at all the little details over time, which brings us to number 4. And that is build a brand bigger than one platform. Build a brand bigger than one platform. So what they discovered was that these YouTube entrepreneurs, content entrepreneurs, begin primarily on one channel. So for some, they might be a podcaster or a blogger, right? In our case, we're saying YouTube should be the channel you start on. And we believe that because it's the only platform where your content lives forever. It's search-based, so you can create content today that's viewed for weeks, months, and years to come. Therefore, there's a good return on investment of your time and your energy because your time is so precious. Like, I love Instagram, and I love TikTok, and I love Facebook, and I love all these platforms, but they're so hungry for content. You got to post all the time. You got to just keep posting. You got to keep posting. I don't know about you. It's super exhausting. If you do YouTube right, you can post a video today, it'll work for you a year from now, 2 years from now, and we're going to be unpacking the exact details of how to do that over the next 2 days. But they primarily begin on one platform, but then diversify into many other channels. So again, we recommend YouTube being the platform that you start on, but then listen to this data that the study revealed. Their goal was to ultimately focus on owned channels. The most experienced content entrepreneurs are most likely to use channels without intermediaries, blogging and e-newsletters. So what is this saying? This is saying that the most experienced content entrepreneurs are like, okay, YouTube's awesome, that's going to be my home base. But they don't stay focused just on YouTube. They realize things could change, so I need to build an email list. Algorithms could change, so I need to actually set up my own website or my blog. This says more experienced content entrepreneurs. And we're right in this very session kind of thinking about some of the goalposts you should have on your journey to say, okay, if those that have gone before me that are crushing it at this, their goal is to maybe start somewhere and even continue to stay there and dominate there or do whatever, but man, what website am I building? Am I building an email list? Do you have an email list? Do you have a text message list? I'm not saying you need this in the next 5 minutes. We're trying to see the vision of, okay, here's how you build this into a real career. Let's keep reading. There are tremendous advantages to owned, more controlled channels. First, these entrepreneurs also own the analytics and insights they can extract from their audiences, because you own those that come to your blog, Google Analytics, email, newsletter. Second, they're not beholden to the whims and rule changes of large social and tech platforms, algorithm changes, arbitrary blocking, and withholding of data. Finally, without an intermediary, CEs can leverage new monetization strategies that offer more control as well as much healthier margins. Let me give you an example. When you build, say, a membership site, for one example, We use things like Thinkific, who's one of our sponsors of the conference. There's other ones like, Kajabi, or there's all kinds of different ones. Those different types of places where you could host a membership and membership content, they usually don't take any percentage. You pay for the service, but they don't take any percentage of the revenue. So once you pay your monthly bill or you pay annually, that's it. Now, YouTube offers you channel memberships. So they're kind of stepping into this, but here's the key. It's not an owned channel, which is nice. Well, the nice thing about YouTube memberships is it's all right there on YouTube. People can join your thing right there. They can start subscribing right there, and it kind of takes away the headache. But did you know they take 30% of your revenue? All right. Now, you might not be a big deal if you're earning $100 a month. They're taking $30. I would feel the sting of the 30, but it's like it doesn't matter as much there. But imagine if you became at a $100,000 a year level as a YouTube entrepreneur, all in channel memberships, and YouTube was taking 30% of your revenue. That would be $30,000 a year. Could you do anything with that? Is there anybody here that just wants an extra $30,000, or that's not going to move the needle for you? You know what I'm saying? So why are content entrepreneurs focusing on owned channels is because they understand that the whim of YouTube to charge whatever they want for you using their channel memberships or whatever it is that, other features that they give you on that platform. I'm not cynical about it. I'm not bitter about it. I think YouTube is the greatest place in the world. They give us access to this platform for free and even channel memberships for free. But that's also not where we host our channel memberships. We have a thing called Inner Circle, and we host it in a place where we, again, are able to keep 98% of the revenue, and the 2% goes to the payment processor, which is like Stripe, or PayPal or things like that. So why? Because we think at Think Media like YouTube entrepreneurs and not like YouTubers. You choose your path. You pick your path, but this is why they focus on their own channels. They have more control and for sure healthier margins. Which brings us to number 5. And if you happen to be checking out this kind of bonus session, first session on YouTube, thanks so much for being here. Smash like if you've been getting value. Patience and commitment, though, is number 5. Patience and commitment. This isn't rah-rah. I know I can be that guy sometimes, like, come on, you got that youth pastor passion. Cool. This is legit patience and commitment, though. And where does it come from? Well, first of all, here's what the study from thetilt.com revealed. The median amount of money that full-time content entrepreneurs invest in their business was $10,000. So the median amount that people invested to get started as a YouTube entrepreneur was 10 grand. That is no small amount of money. That's number 1. That's focus and discipline, and that's patience and commitment. Because we're going to see how long it takes to earn their first dollar. So the approach to it isn't it. Interestingly enough, the approach is like starting a real business. Like if you're going to start a real business, you might go to Bank of America, go sit with the guy at the counter and say, I want to take out a small business loan. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to take out a small business loan. I'm just saying because you're starting a business. So those that are starting this, they're thinking about, okay, what is the gear that I need and the content that I need and the coaching that I need and the education that I need and the website that I need and the software that I need and all those little details that go into it. This is just what the study revealed, that the median amount of money that those invested, to me, that's commitment. You know what I mean? It's like you put your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? People can talk big, but then when it's time to write a check, they're like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm not that committed, which is fine. But the CEs that are crushing it, the YEs, the YouTube entrepreneurs, I'm interchanging the term, 10 grand like to get started in this. Now watch this. Well, so how long did it take to build a successful content business? On average, watch, you need 26 months from launch to supporting a single person from revenue. So they launch 0 months, all right? 9 months later, they've earned their first dollar. So about 9 months until they earn their first dollar. And this was on average for those that, again, today are making 50, 100, 50, 100 to 125 over years. 18 months in, they hired help for the first time. And at 26 months, now they're supporting one person, meaning now they have like a whole video editor or a whole personal assistant or somebody else. 26 months, 2 years and 2 months more than that in terms of these YouTube entrepreneurs and how long it takes. Patience and commitment. And hear me, what we can discern from this study is it's not 26 months of just dabbling, 26 months of like, uploaded a video whenever, 26 months. I saw a comment on Think Media about to call you out, and this person said, I've applied all your tips. This is not necessarily what they sound like, but this is what they sound like in my head. I'm applying all your tips. It's not working. So I clicked through to their channel, and I'm looking on the other side. I have never seen worse titles written. It was a gaming channel, but it was like non-content. Titles were like a word. It was like rad. So I was like, well, you definitely haven't applied all my tips because we talk about titles all the time. The thumbnails were just meaningless images, and even the content itself. I was like, what do you mean you applied all of my tips? I don't think you've ever watched any of our videos. Like, have a niche, like reverse engineer, like thumbnails, titles, like take this thing serious, like focus and discipline. Like, man, you got to learn. You got to grow. You're not just entitled to some kind of YouTube success. You just lob out a title, randomly pick a niche. I just feel about like talking about my opinions every day online. Well, that's cool if you just want to talk about your opinions, but what is that? How is that based in anything that serves anybody else, solves anybody's problems? Well, I really think my wisdom and my advice could really help others. Well, maybe it can, but I'm talking focused and discipline. Like if you're going to open up a local coffee shop in a city, like you don't just go, you know what? I'm just going to open this shop and people are going to come and they're going to buy my coffee. Someone tries your coffee, it tastes like dirt, like quite literally. You might think coffee tastes like dirt. It actually tastes like dirt. And then people go, this tastes like dirt. And you go, yeah, but like you should buy it anyways. And then you go, I don't know why my coffee shop is failing. Your coffee tastes like dirt. And then you don't actually put a sign outside. In fact, the sign outside says gardening supplies. And they come in and they're like, I'm here for gardening supply. But do you hear this is what people are doing? The titles doesn't make sense. It's not a clear idea. It's not a clear business. When you get there, it tastes like dirt. And so the focus and discipline isn't there. And then you've been doing it for 26 months. And you're like, well, Sean said I can support one person after 20. Well, that's not what I said. First of all, the tilt said, so take it up, email at the tilt. Just kidding. But like, you ultimately look at it, it's going to take, number one, focus and discipline, a full-time mindset, even if you can't do it full-time. And it's potentially going to take 9 months until you earn your first dollar. 18 months, now you've been hustling by yourself and you've hired help for the first time. And 26 months later, now you're actually like breathing a little bit and saying, okay, now we got some momentum, man. I'm supporting myself. I'm supporting somebody else. I'm recouping some of my investment. That is what business owners do. And maybe that's the difference between a content creator and a content entrepreneur. We're calling them YouTube entrepreneurs. So why? Why do they do this? Why do they want to do this? This is interesting. Here's the vision, though, and I'm curious your why, because the why matters. I may have just talked you out, right? You're like, well, that actually sounds a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It sounds like I'll actually have to do some work, but you got to remember your why. What's your why for wanting to do this? Content entrepreneurs are fiercely independent. Do you think a college degree is required to be a successful content entrepreneur, a YouTube entrepreneur? 85% said no. These are people who are blazing their own path, making their own way. Can I operate my content business from anywhere that has reliable internet? Almost all of them said yes. So there's work ahead, yes, but man, there's opportunity and an incredible lifestyle. You work from anywhere with internet? And next one, once you've been a content entrepreneur, is it hard to go back to traditional work? 76% say yes, hard to go back. So I think it's so important, and I want you, if you're connected to our community, to always hear that we're not trying to give false hope or just disproportionate hype. We're just so passionate, and this study has proved it. This is real. This is a career. This is happening. This industry is going to double, triple, and quadruple over the next years. All the data supports it. The Signal Fire article, this supports it. There's a process to it. It's what we're talking about the next 2 days of Growth Video. It's what our company is committed to. But it's going to take real work, but it's also the best career in the world. If you really want to do this, if you really want to be able to work wherever you want in the world, if you really want to be able to embrace this and say, man, it'd be really hard to go back to traditional work because this is a whole different way of living. This is just a whole different dimension of independence and freedom. I don't have to get a college degree. I don't have to go through the traditional pathways set up by traditional gatekeepers. I can make my own way. I can blaze my own path. I can work on my own terms. I can work I can work whenever I want in my day. I can eventually, hear me, I can eventually decide that I want to work 15 hours a week or 25 hours a week so that I can be at my kids' soccer games, or so that, like one of my friends, so I can go help at the elementary school and build shelves, because I want to be able to create that. I'm not trying to overhype it and say, type in a magical keyword and all of a sudden $1 million gets transported to your bank account. But what I am saying is that by the patience it takes and the commitment it takes on the other side of that is massive opportunity. And people say, what are the benefits of being a content entrepreneur, a YouTube entrepreneur? Lifestyle issues overwhelmingly selected over traditional factors like compensation were independence. That's the top one. And let me know let me know if this resonates with you. Do you want more independence? Do you want more freedom? 78% want more independence. The ability to pursue my passions. Flexible work hours. You know, we enjoy our work, enjoy my work hours. Like, I love those because we enjoy the work, but maybe you want to be able to work when you want to work. I think about the Think Media team, and half the team is golfing all the time. I'm like, what? I guess that's pretty cool. That's the dream. We're trying to build a culture that is built in this YouTube entrepreneur lifestyle, because the reality is, it's like, okay, if you're going to be, going golfing at the best time in the early of the morning or whatever, but you can work whenever you want. Like, we just got to get the work done. Doesn't matter when you do it. You want to work at night, you want to work during the day. Like, when do you want to work? And so flexible work hours, enjoying your work hours, being challenged, earning more than a traditional job, getting to choose where you live. Now you have location freedom. More time with my family and friends, more time to pursue my hobbies, and lastly, being able to prove myself to others. So what's the future? What's the future of being a YouTube entrepreneur? Is it too late now? Now that there's some established CEs, YEs, now that they're established, is it too late to start doing this? The data suggests no. Right now, we are seeing that the monthly active users on YouTube is up to 2.3 billion monthly active users worldwide. Is competition increasing? It sure is. But is consumption increasing? Even more. At a rapid rate, more people are hungry to solve problems for entertainment and education, for quality content, for content that resonates with them, for a content creator that resonates with them. It made me think about the Grow with Video Live community member that's doing beginner yoga. It made me think, was anybody else doing beginner yoga? For sure. It's competitive. So you got to figure out how you're going to be different. But the powerful thing is you also really just need to lean in being you. Because the reality is people like to follow people from different backgrounds, ages, ethnicities. It reminds me of my friend Dottotech, who helps people with tech, kind of like I do on Think Media. But Dottotech is a baby boomer. And there's this rising revolution of people trying to figure out how to make side income. And I talk a little bit fast. I'm a little bit more caffeinated than him, right? A little bit more optimistic probably in my communicating. And so ultimately, you just think about you being you leaning into your difference, finding your unique content and video ideas to help you get discovered, defining what it is about you that makes you different, leaning into understanding who will resonate with you best, who you're talking to, their problems, their ambitions, specifically that could be in a micro demographic and the psychographics of the group of people you're trying to reach, and dialing in your laser-focused approach in a big world of 2.3 billion monthly active users on YouTube. Is there an audience for you? There sure is. Is there the chance to still build up a career, maybe starting and not earning your first dollar for the first 9 months? I'm sure you've probably already experienced that. But also, is there going to be a need of you to get focused and get more disciplined? Because the last 9 months, if you're honest, you've probably been consuming a little bit more than you've been creating, right? Maybe you're dabbling a little bit and really not leaning in with discipline. And so the opportunity is real. In fact, views on YouTube, this reveals, from Tubular Labs, that views on YouTube continue to grow throughout the pandemic, and views for top videos on YouTube grew 18% even during the first half of 2021. So this is super recent data that you're seeing on screen, to be clear. And what it's suggesting is that YouTube is not stagnating, it's not declining. And I know even though we're in pandemic part 2, 3, or 4, who knows where we even are in this whole journey, but that things are kind of open, kind of not open, closed down again, but maybe less than it was. But even though some people have returned to kind of somewhat of normal, views keep going up. See, everybody was re-educated. Like I even think about my family. Like my parents, because of the pandemic, they were so locked down. They had never we went over, my dad has a projector in his living room. Like, is your dad like that? You know what I mean? I don't even like projectors as much because they're not as crispy as a TV, whatever. And so he's got this projector, and I went over, and they had YouTube videos up on this projector, and we were about to have dinner, my wife and I and my son, with my dad, and they were playing these YouTube videos, and they discovered this couple who sings songs in outfits in their car. I forget who they are. And they're like, these guys are so cool. Guys, you got to see this. And they play it, and they're like using like an Apple TV thing and like talking to it. I'm like, when did my late 60s and early 70s mom and stepdad start talking to Siri and having favorite YouTubers? That's what the pandemic did. Every generation just continues to have more adoption, more interest, more consumption, no matter what culture is doing. And it's only going forward, friend. If you feel like you're too late, you're not too late. If you feel like, I wish I started back when Sean did, well, of course. But the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is right now. And when you're focused and you make the commitment, and when you're patient, big things can happen. You know, these are really recent numbers. YouTube hits $7 billion in ad revenue and tops Wall Street expectations. $7 billion in ad revenue. This next quarter is projected that YouTube's going to hit $10 billion. Now, again, what this is telling us is that ad revenue is up 84% year over year. Well, Sean, what good is that for me? Like, YouTube is making more money. No, you're making more money because ad revenue is split with creators. So YouTube continues to go up in revenue at a crazy pace. What does that tell us? It tells us that there's more money in the industry. There's more money for you. There's more money for YouTube entrepreneurs. What are you doing to get positioned? How serious are you about figuring this out, mastering the platform, so that you can capitalize and get a piece of that pie? $7 billion, and that doesn't mean your online course, your membership site that's off platform, your merch that you create. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. It literally actually just means what you'd be being compensated for the views on YouTube, because that's their main way of earning money that's driving those numbers. So over the next 2 days, we're going to be talking about how to specifically crush it on YouTube right now. We have a 7-step system that we teach in our Video Rake It Academy, and we're going to be going through it not just at a high level, but also in detail in terms of what have we learned at Think Media over the last year. And that's the point of Grow with Video Live. And at Grow with Video Live, we think about, man, what's working on YouTube right now? What has stopped working? And we have a whole session devoted to like things that are just not worth your time. They're just not worth focusing on, and your time is super precious. We have Omar El Takori talking deeply about how to create content that gets attention and even practical tips in regards to the best tools right now to use for YouTube. We have Tony Ariola, who's going to be sharing in detail about, he's like our lead YouTube strategist, about what we've learned in terms of titles and thumbnails. We have Heather Torres talking about how to master your time, how to grow your channel, how to overcome a lot of the other things like how do you build your confidence to get on camera? How do you overcome the fear of other people's opinions? How do you deal with the whole psychological battles that we go through in being a YouTube entrepreneur? And so I want to encourage you, if you're already a part of Grow with Video Live, the next 2 days are going to be incredible. And if you actually have not joined yet, you still can, because the conference really hasn't even started. This is just kind of our kickoff bonus night where we're testing everything. We had the power core, we had to figure some of those things. This is just a test session. We wanted to invite Think Media to be a part of some of these details, because we're getting locked and loaded for 2 days, basically 9 to 5, every day streaming. There's a special conference app. It's an incredibly immersive experience. Myself and the whole Think Media team are there to give you the most world-class content, giveaways. We have prizes. We have Zoom meetups and after parties that are digitally happening. And in the midst of a precarious time in the world, we really believe that it's more important than ever before that we gather together, that we link arms, that we get world-class content and strategy for right now and for this next year on YouTube, and that we also get connected to a community to stay encouraged in the midst of these times. And so that's why we built an app, so that you can actually engage in a digital community and have some real relationships the best we know possible in these crazy times in the world. GrowWithVideoLive.com is where all the details are at. Think Media, if you got value out of this video, smash the like button and leave me a comment wherever you're watching this of what are you going to do next? What was your aha moment from this training? Have you decided that you want to become a YouTube entrepreneur? Maybe you're settled on, actually, I kind of want to be more of a YouTuber. Or maybe you're like, all I know is this has been like a fire hose. I need to learn some more. I need to study some more. Wherever you are on the journey, my name is Sean Cannell, and I'm super grateful for you. I'm here to serve you and help you on the journey, and would love to be a part of that. Whether you're part of Grow with Video Live or not, I look forward to seeing you soon in the next video. And with that,